Hello everyone and welcome to my PowerPoint about steel types in Generation 3 Overused. This is specifically for Generation 3 Overused, so we're not talking about every single steel type that ever came out up until Gen 3. No. This is just for Gen 3 OU Pokemon. We're going to talk about some of their metagame strategy. As y'all know, the Gen 3 OU meta basically revolves around Sand, Spikes, and Toxic. Now, one advantage that the steel types has innately is that it is immune to Toxic, and it is immune to Sandstorm. So the Steel type gets both of those perks in this meta, making them overall very good Pokemon. You're going to be seeing a lot of Steel types if you play Generation 3 Overused. So without further ado, let's get into this. Also, I want to say, I'm off of edible, so if I lose my train of thought, blame it on the drugs, man. Blame it on the drugs. All right. First up, we got Skarmory. Skarmory is the Steel Flying S-Rank Pokemon. It's up there with Tyranitar, the second most used Pokemon in the game. And why is that? Well, one characteristic about the Steel types that you're going to notice is they have a lot of defense. And when I say a lot of defense, I don't mean like, like 50% above their no. Like, we're talking like 80, 90% above their normal stats, almost doubling their normal stats. It's kind of ridiculous. So what makes Skarmory so good? It's its stats for sure, but also its moveset. It gets spikes, so you can lay down spikes, lay down those hazards, layer up, and deal the incoming damage. I believe it goes 12, 16, 25, if I'm not mistaken, for each layer of spikes that you have up. Then you can go into Roar, and Roar essentially just drags out a random Pokemon from your opponent's Pokemon. It has a negative priority, so it almost always goes second, even after Focus Punch, I believe. So, Roar to get more things to hit the spikes. That's the whole goal of Roar. If they have a Superman team, which means that they have a lot of flying types, then Roar is basically useless, and the spikes are basically useless because they don't take any damage if you're flying type. It also gets access to Drill Peck and Toxic. Toxic is to spread, Toxic. Toxic's always a good thing, unless you're going up against Lumberry, whatevers. But spreading Toxic is always fun. Drill Peck is double super effective against grass and fighting, which is great against Breloom, as well as other fighting types. So Drill Peck, you can run that if you want a more offensive Skarmory, if you want to give it more to do. Maybe it gets taunted and you don't want it to lose all of its moves, right? And lastly, you can run Protect, Taunt, and Thief. Thief steals the opponent's item. Protect guards you for one attack and its accuracy goes down the more you use it consecutively. And Taunt stops your opponent from using status moves for 2 turns. Not 3 turns like it is in the modern generations. Thank you, Jimothy Cool, for teaching me this. But only 2 turns. It gets Leftovers and as well as Keen Eye and Careful Nature. And it has 252 health, 252 special defense, and 4 speed. This means Skarmory is very, very bulky, even against special attackers. Now, there is a second Skarmory you can run, which is offensive spikes, and this is to counter Magneton. So, it's EV to have 252 speed, just enough to be above most standard Magnetons, and we'll get into Magneton later in this video. But it runs HP Ground instead of the usual Toxic Drill Peck to counter those Magnetons. It also gets Taunt to stop, Gengars from Will-O-Missing, or to stop whatever, or to stop other Skarmories from doing too much, as well as Spikes and Drill Peck to make it offensive. It does not get Roar, since its main goal is to get Spikes on the field up against Magnetons, and then deal with Magnetons as they arise. It gets Keen Eye and the Adamant Nature this time, and with 4 health, 252 attack, and 252 speed. Next up, we have Metagross. Metagross is Psychic Steel, and it is in A rank. There's a lot of sets you can run with Metagross, so we'll kind of rapid fire through these. First off, you have the Choice Banded set. Now, the Choice Band is all-out offense. All of your moves are offensive. You're running Meteor Mash, Earthquake, Explosion, which is Metagross's most powerful move and most meta-defining moves, as well as Rock Slide or HP Bug. HP Bug is good against Celebi. Rock Slide is good against flying types. It's up to you, although most flying types still take a lot of damage to Meteor Mash. It's up to you, right? Depending on what you want to run, depending on what you want to counter. It gets Choice Band as well as Clear Body and Adamant Nature. It has 128 health, 252 attack, and 128 speed, making it very bulky, as well as hitting very hard with a lot of speed, right? You want it to be semi-bulky with a lot of attack and a lot of speed. Next up, you can run Agility Metagross. This one is the same thing, but with Agility instead of Rock Slide or HP Bug. This one gets a Lumberry because, as y'all know, stat-raising Pokemon typically want a Lumberry because if their stats are getting raised, you don't want them to be getting toxic because you don't want that to slow down your pace, right? That's just another switch out that you're going to have to make eventually. You see what I'm saying? As well as Paralysis. What am I talking about? Toxic. Paralysis. God, this guy... Paralysis is what you want to look out for. That's why you would run Lumberry on the Agility one. Anyways, it gets Clear Body, Adamant Nature. This is this is a very bulky one with 252 health, 252 special attack, and 4 speed. For the other Metagross sets, we got the bulky attacker Metagross. This one gets Meteor Mash, Earthquake, Explosion, and Protect to Chip Heal. Now, this is the Metagross that I personally run because I think having it just as a nice bulky attacker that can explode and kill anything in the game is ridiculous, first off, but second off, a spectacular Pokemon. It gets Leftovers as well as Clear Body and the Adamant Nature with a 252 health, 176 attack, and 80 defense, so you see a little bit of defense investment for this Metagross. The last Metagross set that you can run is the Mixed. It gets Psychic and HP Fire to be super effective against Steel types, Meteor Mash as well, and Explosion. This Mixed is very good against Skarmories that come in on your Metagross, anticipating Meteor Mash or what have you. It also gets Leftovers as well as Clear Body and the Quiet Nature since it's going for that special attack. 252 health, 252 special attack, and 4 speed is what this Metagross is going to be running. And of course, you're going to be exploding on whatever comes in afterwards. Next up, we have Jirachi. Jirachi is also Psychic Steel as well as A rank, basically the same as Metagross as far as that is concerned. But it's more of a defensive or setup-y Pokemon depending on which Jirachi you want to be running. So first set is Offensive Calm Mind. Offensive Calm Mind runs Calm Mind, Psychic, Fire Punch or Ice Punch, as well as Mega Drain or Thunderbolt. Of course, you want to run Fire Punch and Ice Punch to try and be super effective against Flying, super effective against Steel, Mega Drain super effective against Tyranitar, Thunderbolt super effective against bulky water types like Milotic, right? As well as Leftovers for its item, and Serene Grace as its ability with a timid or modest nature. It gets 4 defense, 252 special attack, and 252 speed, since you want this thing to be going first and be getting up those Calm Minds as early as possible, even against a Fire-type Pokemon or a Pokemon with Earthquake, right? You still want to be able to get your setup going, get your Fire Punches, get your Ice Punches, your Mega Drains, your Thunderbolts, oh me, oh my, and get it pushing. Next, it gets a defensive set. This is the cringe defensive set you guys all know and love, I'm sure, which is running Wish, Protect, Fire Punch, and Body Slam or Toxic. Most Jirachis I see run Body Slam for the paralysis chance and the extra damage. Some of them will run Toxic. My Salamence has been both paralyzed and toxic by Jirachi plenty of times. So, a very fun day out in the field for Jirachi if he gets that. As well as Wish and Protect, which make this thing a monster on the field since it can Wish up, take damage, then Protect, and then, heal up 50%. It basically makes it a Sandstorm Blissey. It runs Leftovers as well as Serene Grace or the Sassy or Calm Nature with 252 health, 76 defense, so some defense investment, and 180 special defense. And as you can see, its stats are all 100. This is basically Mew from Generation 1. Next up, we have more Jirachi. Jirachi can run Wish and Calm Mind, which is a defensive setup set. It gets Calm Mind, Wish, Ice Punch, or Psychic. Psychic is an interesting one because Jirachi mainly does struggle against fighting-type Pokemon, as well as Thunder, Thunderbolt, or Fire Punch. Thunder, obviously, to spread paralysis, not to really hit. Thunderbolt to, as well as spread paralysis, deal more damage. And Fire Punch to be super effective against those other Steel types. This Jirachi runs Leftovers and has Serene Grace and a Bold Nature with 252 health, 224 defense, and 232 speed. Next Jirachi runs Substitute Calm Mind. This is another very cringe Jirachi because it's just substituting all over the place and calm minding and setting up. This one runs Psychic or Ice Punch to be super effective, against those Salamence, against those ground types, what have you, as well as Fire Punch or Thunderbolt. This Jirachi also runs Leftovers as its item, Serene Grace as its ability, and a timid or modest nature. It has 252 health, 40 defense, 80 special attack, 136 speed, and is overall a pretty good beast. It can stay on the field a very long time. It can set up very easily. Pretty good. The mixed Jirachi gets Dynamic Punch, Body Slam or Thunder Wave to spread paralysis, Fire Punch, super effective against steel types, and HP Grass, super effective against those water ground types. It also gets the item Leftovers, as well as Serene Grace and the Mild Nature with 136 attack, 236 special attack, and 136 speed. This Jirachi is very good at handling all sorts of threats, water type threats. It can handle fast Pokemon with Thunder Wave, Dynamic Punch. It can put things in confusion, you know? At least I think that's what Dynamic Punch does. I don't know. I've never played with a mixed Jirachi before, but from what it seems, this is a beast that can deal a lot of damage and dish it out as well as it can take it. Good Pokemon, good Jirachi. Next up, we have Forretress. Forretress is like a Skarmory replacement. It gets Spikes and Rapid Spin, the only Pokemon to get both of those, aside from Glail? I don't know. It also can run HP Bug and Explosion, or Earthquake and Explosion. HP Bug, super effective against Celebi. We've already been over this. Earthquake, good against Tyranitar. Also good against Steel types. Very, very good Pokemon to be running Earthquake. It gets Leftovers as its item, Sturdy is its ability, and it runs the Careful nature with 252 health, good health investment, low defense investment because it already has a crazy high defense, and 252 special defense to make it a wall just like Skarmory, but it can also remove spikes unlike Skarmory. However, it can't roar out Pokemon onto the spikes, so you need to pick and choose your battle. Which one would you rather run, Skarmory or Forretress? Next up, we have Magneton. Magneton is Electric Steel. Also, I apologize. Forretress is Bug Steel, by the way. A very interesting type in Generation 1, or Generation 3. Next up, we have Magneton, which is Electric Steel. It is B rank. It only has one set, and that is the Trapper set. This is made specifically to kill Skarmory, unless they're running offensive spikes, in which case Magneton gets killed instead, but that's okay. It runs Thunderbolt, HP Fire, or HP Grass based on whichever threats you're wanting to take out. Maybe they have a Swampert you want to get rid of, run HP Grass. Maybe they got a Steel type, Metagross, HP Fire, very good. It can also run Toxic or Thunder Wave based on what status you want to give out. You know, you want to paralyze, slow things down, or do you want to poison things, deal some extra damage. It also runs Protect or Substitute, and it can have Magnet or Leftovers. I believe Magnet is actually what guarantees a one-hit KO against opposing Skarmorys, if I'm not mistaken. It gets Magnet Pull as its ability and Modest or Timid as its nature with 4 health, 252 special attack, and 252 speed, outspeeding Skarmory and making sure those Skarmorys die on the field. The only reason Magneton is even up in the B rank is because it can kill Skarmory. Next up, we have Registeel. Registeel is pure Steel type, mono Steel type, C rank. It only has, well, it has a few sets, but this is the one we're going to talk about. Mixed Wall, Thunder Wave, Seismic Toss, Toxic/Counter, and Explosion. This is basically a Metagross substitute in. It can paralyze things, it can deal good damage, as well as poisoning or countering whatever physical attack they may throw at the Registeel, right? It gets access to Leftovers as its item, Clear Body as its ability, and Careful Nature with 252 health, 200 special defense, and 56 speed to make it not abysmally slow. Now, this isn't the only Registeel that you can run, as I'm sure many of y'all watch Stoic Kite. Stoic Kite used to run a Curse Registeel. Now, Registeel is a phenomenal setup Pokemon in the late game because of its typing. Steel type is resistant to, I believe, normal types, if I'm not mistaken, which means that they take way less damage from, explosion, from earthquakes, or not earthquakes, from body slams, from beat ups, from all of that stuff. Beat up is typeless. Anyways. So you can run Cursed Registeel as well to try and set up as a late game setup Pokemon and explode in the early game, as we all saw with Stoic Kite's Taco Bell team. Next up, we have Steelix. Steelix is ground steel, and it is the lowest ranked steel type that we have today. It has 2 sets. The Choice Banded set, which runs Earthquake, Iron Tail, or HP or Hidden Power Steel, as well as Double Edge, Rock Slide, or HP Rock, and Explosion. This obviously has the item Choice Band, and it gets the ability Rockhead and can run the natures of Adamant or Impish. It has some good health investment, some great attack investment, and some good special defense investment to make it a pretty good wall against against other Pokemon, as well as able to dish it out pretty well with all of its physical attacks. You can also run the standard wall set. This one has Earthquake, Toxic or Hidden Power Rock, Roar, and Rest or Explosion. If you want to get it off the field, I would suggest running Explosion. You want to keep it there, you can run Rest. It gets access to Roar, so it's able to roar out those stat buffing Pokemon. It's also able to help with your spikes, Ferris wheel going around, spinning the other Pokemon around the Ferris wheel of spikes. It also runs Toxic, HP Rock, Toxic, you always want to be poisoning. It's one of the big staples in Gen 3. And Hidden Power Rock is obviously super effective against flying type, so it can deal really well with them. And Earthquake, super effective against steel, really good against fire, all of that fun stuff. It runs the item Leftovers, it runs the ability Sturdy, and has the nature of Impish, with great health investment, pretty good attack investment, and great special defense investment, making it a good standard wall to have out with good defense, one of the highest defense in the game, I believe, and good special defense as well after you EV it up. Overall score for the steel types, 9.2 out of 10. I think this is the best type in Generation 3 overused. It's not as dominant as the psychic type is in Gen 1, so that's why it's not like a 9.7. But a 9.2 is still very dominant. I mean, it's mainly the immunity to Toxic and Sandstorm. That sets these Pokemon so far above the rest because those are the two main strategies that your opponent has against your Pokemon. And Skarmy is even more ridiculous. It's a flying type. It's immune to spikes. Right? If there was another steel flying type in the game, it would be S tier because it's immune to Toxic, it's immune to Sand, and it's immune to spikes. So the steel type, in my opinion, is a 9.2 out of 10. A very wonderful type with some very great coverage. That's all for my PowerPoint.